Well, good morning and welcome along to another edition of Adventures with Otis and Sunny. Good morning, Otis. Good morning, Sunny. And in the background, you can see the old Francis Colliery wheel there, way back towards West Weems. Well, we've walked from West Weems this morning, and now we're actually at the memorial for Francis Colliery. It's dedicated to the men and the women who worked at Francis Colliery from 1875. I'm not going to read all the names out. There we go. If you want to pause, you're welcome to have a little look. And over to the information board. The Francis was sunk in 1873, locally known as the Dubby, because it stood above the Dubby Brae, which later was ruined by the spoil from the pit. Development work was hampered by frequent encounters with water in the rock strata, and production did not commence till 1905. And the Francis originally was spelt Francis with an IS after the Francis Robert Sinclair, 4th Earl of Roslin, 1833 to 1890. Go lots of information on this board, some fantastic photos as well, and an image of what it would have looked like. Brilliant. If you'd like to read it, just pause this and have a good read yourselves. But Sunny, Otis and I gotta head over to the eastern side of Dysart and have a look at the harbour. Okay, you ready guys? Come on then. Just over the other side we have the notice board for the town trail. I know we've probably looked at this before, but from the western side of Dysart. Today we're starting at the Dubby Brae, where a century ago holiday makers strolled down to the beach or listened to bands or picnic on the slopes. They mingled with the crowds of the workers heading home after their day's shift in the town's linen mills or the mines. I say mines because it wasn't just the Dubby mine, there was a Lady Blanche mine as well, which we'll look for on the way to Dysart Harbour. There's some fantastic pictures here of what was around, the workers and what it would look like. And of course we'll be heading down past the harbour master's house, the dock bridge, the hot pot wind, Dysart Gateway, the War Memorial, Cross Street, Howard's Place, Rectory Lane, the Highgate, and of course the Panhan. And one final look at the Francis Colliery wheel before we head off to Dysart. Okay Otis, okay Sunny. And a bench here marked up for Dreamer. Wow, lovely sunflower there. And it's in memory of Lee Dreamer. Wow, overlooking the wonderful views of the Firth of the Forth. Just a shame it's so cloudy today. Hey Otis, Sunny, let's see if we can see anything through the telescope. Well, don't need any money. It looks like it's a free one. Have a little look, see if I can get the camera to line up. There we go. No, let me just zoom in on the camera a little bit, see if we can get across. I'm just looking up towards West Weems. There we go, fantastic. And that's where we come from this morning. Didn't record all the way. I was just looking out to sea across the Firth of the Forth. Fantastic. Okay. Right then you two. Next stop, Lady Blanche Colliery. Well, the site where it was anyway. After you Otis. Good boy. There's a lovely aroma of flowers around here. Absolutely. Oh, and lots of bumblebees. Whoa, look at that. There's quite a few on the flowers here. Is that a thistle? Wow. Lovely bumblebee too. You got a lovely smell down there as well, Sonny. Come on this way. Come on, Sonny. You'll have to head off to Dysart. This way. Follow just down the steps. As we go down the steps, I'd like to thank all the new subscribers. We've reached over 400. That is absolutely fantastic. So, up this way, guys. Our next marker, I suppose, is the 500 line. Oh, we have a reach there. Anyway, let's concentrate on these steps. Okay, after you, Otis. Good boy. Where are you going, son? Are you going cross country? Good girl. Wow. Okay, Otis. Come on, let's go down. Oh, hang on, your lead's locked. Let me just loosen it off. Good boy. Come on, Sonny, down the steps. Good girl. Yeah, so we're looking out for the Lady Blanche pit, which was all part of Dysart, and in 1753 an engine pit was sunk 258 feet to the Dysart main coal stream for pumping. It later became known as the Lady Blanche #1 pit, which lay on the shore of Dysart's Panhard, and the early pit work was known as a stoop and room method, which left large pillars of coal. The stoops would support the roof while the coals extracted around them, leaving an empty space known as the room. The pit may have also been referred to by locals in the 18th century as the Fitzroy pit. There's quite a bit of history about that, and the locals, or the locations of the two shafts close to the engine bay, clearly featured on maps from 1895. Well, all that's left today is the archway and the wall at the southern end of the pit, and the platform up there where the colliery wheel was. So there we go. Right, and there's a single little plaque just to show that this was Lady Blanche Colliery, 1870 to 1929. Well done, Kirkcaldy and Dysart, for keeping part of the wall and the archway. And of course you can see the platform up above the railings where the colliery wheel once stood. There we go, fantastic. Okay, Otis, Sonny, come on then, let's head off to the harbour. Good boy, good girl. With West Weems right in the far distance. In the foreground you've got the Panhard, and then you've got the St Grinnell Wind, which heads up towards St Surf's Church. Fantastic. All these wonderful buildings here. All the way along the front, the shoreline of Dysart, and there's St Surf's Church in the background. All part of Dysart's Panhard. And there's the famous little sailing boat representing Dysart. Fantastic. And if you want to know a little bit more about that, then look back over the previous videos of Dysart, probably 5 or 6 months ago. And here we are entering into Dysart Harbour, which dates back to about 1450, when it was mainly for the export of coal and salt, when the trading town was partners with the Low Countries. But the harbour was originally a man-made built out of timbers and could only be used at low tide with very limited space. And damage was caused to the jetty later on in the 1500s. The area was commonly known as East Haven of Dysart. Anyway, time for a little drink for Otis and Sonny at Dysart Sailing Club. Fantastic. You can have some more, Otis? Good boy. Have a good drink. We got a good old walk back to Kirkcaldy yet. Oh, the harbour that you see it today was started work around about the 17th century, and it was funded by the town council and Lord Sinclair. Robert Stevenson was commissioned to report on the harbour state in 1819. Fantastic. There we go. And this is the harbour master's cottage, which is a B-listed 18th century building, and it's home to the headquarters of the Fife Coast and Countryside Trust. Back in 2006, the building was renovated and refurbished as a £1 million project involving the county council. And this is the hot pot wine, as you can see. I'm just trying to focus on the building. There we go, fantastic. So the building overlooks Dysart Harbour, and it's actually one of the oldest buildings of one of the oldest harbours in Fife. Well, it's a shame it's low tide. The boats should be there bobbing along in the harbour wall. And back in the 1920s, this would have been full of coal ships, and the owners of the Earl of Roslind's Coal Company put pressure on the town council to actually deepen the harbour for use with their larger ships. And that's when this inner basin was created. And in the far corner here, there was once a tunnel which led through to the coal bunkers, just over there somewhere, which went into the hillside, and that's where the coal was transported down from the mines above. And unfortunately, back in 1929, Lady Blanche pit was closed, and it proved to be the end of the coal trade from the harbour. The lack of revenue forced the town to merge with Kirkcaldy under the local Act of Parliament, and this harbour was no longer required. Okay, Otis, okay, Sonny, I think we'll sign off in a couple of minutes. So thank you very much for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, please click on like, please subscribe, and please leave some comments. We love to hear from you. So there we go. This is us coming up to the end of the harbour wall at Dysart. Hopefully we'll be able to get some good views across to Kirkcaldy, over the Firth of the Forth, and over the Pan How, hopefully. There we go. Right then, you two. You wait there. I'm just going to do a pan. Well, looks like the seagulls are all leaving. That's the 20th century part of the harbour wall. The rest of it dating back to the 17th and 18th and 19th century. Over there in distance, St Serph's Church and Dysart Harbour with the Sailing Club. The Harbour Master's House, which is now Fife County Council's headquarters for the coastal walk. Over in the far corner, that would have been the tunnel where the coal would have been brought through to the ships, through the great cliffs of Ravenscraig Park above, and Dysart's house would have been up on top of the cliff as well. And through that tunnel, that takes you through to the end of Dysart and over to Ravenscraig Park and the wall surrounding the park grounds. Absolutely fantastic. And over there you've got Kirkcaldy Harbour, just about in the distance. I'm just going to see if I can see the castle, Ravenscraig Castle. Nope, it's hidden behind the trees. But that's wee Bobby over there. That's the wall what we hang about it sometimes. And this is all Kirkcaldy. You see the TV transmitter there, right in the middle, and the tower blocks overlooking the sea Absolutely fantastic. The 1st to the 4th. Right the way across. Can't see Edinburgh. Just about make out Inchkeith Island. Let's just try that again. Hang on a minute. That's the end of 5 and across Inchkeith Island in the mist. Further on from that would be Edinburgh and the Forth Road bridges. Unfortunately, it's a bit misty today. Just make out the new boats. And we're back where we started. So I'm going to say cheerio. Thanks for joining us. It's goodbye from Otis, goodbye from Sunny, and a cheerio from me.